What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Game Changers. I'm your host, your boy, your cousin, your nephew, Jalen Tart, along with my guys, Xavier and Joe. So along with me, we got a guest, Chaz Childers. Chaz, let everybody know who you are, up and coming. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
man. First off, thank you for having me. I really
Mm-hmm.
appreciate it. I'm a sports communications major at Clemson. I know we talked earlier, got a lot of same goals,
Right.
aspirations with ESPN, stuff like broadcasting, being on TV. So yeah, I'm about the same things y'all are. I'm really excited to get into it today.
Word. Let's do it. Let's do it. So let's jump right into it. So, Christmas is coming up. The NBA has started, which fans are dying to wait. They had the shortest off season in sports history with, I believe, 71 days. If I'm wrong, y'all can correct me. But we got a little bit of taste of Kyrie and KD. The most prolific scorers in the NBA right now. Do you think the Nets are the biggest threat in the East right now with the way they played against the Golden State Warriors?
Yeah. We can see that KD and Kyrie is going to score efficiently all season. Joe Harris did a pretty good job last night against the Warriors. They're looking like a team that been together for a while. And I'm excited to see how they're going to shake up the East and Milwaukee, who's playing tonight. So I'm going to say, yes, they got to look out for Brooklyn.
For me, I say yes, but I don't think they're going to the finals though. A reason I say that is because, I just say that because it's gonna go down to Kyrie. It's gonna see what he wants, what his mindset is looking like, and everything from that nature. Yes, the Nets can go to the Eastern Conference Finals and probably either meet Philly, Milwaukee, even Miami, and out there. But but like I said, it's just gonna go to Kyrie and see what happens from there.
Mm-hmm. Chaz, what you got?
Yeah, I have them as the favorites. I think you have to. And the big thing for me looking at it is I think KD is gonna keep getting healthier and healthier. I think right now you could even say he's probably around like 80. And an 80% KD is still a top player in the league. And the thing to look at also is with Kyrie, I've always been critical of Kyrie after everything in Boston. I felt like they played better every time he was off the court, and that really was like that that impacted it negative for me. But looking at the way that he's been talking, and he's already said that he thinks that he can basically be the number two player on that team. He's okay with that role. And Kyrie accepting that role as the player with the best handles in NBA history, along with arguably the best scorer in NBA history, there's no way they can't be the favorite because I don't trust Milwaukee in the playoffs. Giannis, teams play defense in the playoffs, man. And you look at Karis LeVert, Dinwiddie, KD, and Kyrie, that's dangerous. I don't think there's anyone with that star power in the East. So for me, it's a no-brainer right now.
Yeah, I gotta piggyback off of what Chaz said. It all started with Kyrie. He wanted out of Boston. Felt like it wasn't going good because originally when he went to Boston, he wanted to get away from LeBron. And with all this stuff going on, being a team leader, people saying that he wasn't a rightful leader for the Boston Celtics, he had to get away. So he had to go back to his roots, his hometown, go back to Brooklyn. Smart move. So when KD comes, it's like, man, you got one of the top prolific scorers in NBA who can average 30 in his sleep more of the time. So he hurts his Achilles or whatnot. So coming back, you have high expectations of winning a championship. My only concern now is, will Kyrie be a distraction for the Brooklyn Nets while KD is there? That's my only concern. Because you have KD who has won two championships versus Kyrie winning that one. Arguably, this is probably going to be the best scoring duo we have seen in quite some time. We will see what the bench will be, how far the bench will go with LeVert coming off the bench, with Joe Harris signing that extension coming off the bench. I forgot the big man's name. If y'all can check.
Jared Allen.
Yeah, Jared Allen, DeAndre
That's
Jordan.
That's a nice piece that they have with DeAndre Jordan. That's a nice piece that they have. They could go far. My only concern is going through Boston or possibly going through Milwaukee. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. Cause Kyrie, yes, you are box office attraction, but will the distraction hinder your team of winning the championship? That's my only concern with that. So moving on now. So, Pittsburgh. So you start off the season 11-0. Everyone thinks, okay, yeah, you're going to the Super Bowl. Now it's like you drop 3 games, and it's like, wow, we're finally losing. They're not the best team that you got. Like, they're not the best team in the NFL. So what is wrong with it? What is wrong in Pittsburgh? Who is more to blame for Pittsburgh struggles?
I say the run game because they don't really have a strong run game. They have the weakest run game in the AFC North right now, arguably between them and the Bengals. Pittsburgh, Big Ben can get the ball off in 2-3 seconds, which is amazing. But like we were saying off camera, he can't get it down the field as much, which is a problem. I mean, you have receivers, you have a tight end, you have Johnson, Juju, Claypool, Eric Ebron, Vance McDonald. You even have an offensive line. And I can't really – I mean, they have the talent, but it's just like – I guess it's like the arrogance and the cockiness of how the Steelers are, if you get my drift. And it's just like once you start tanking, then things is going to go down south because now you're giving Cleveland a better chance to win the division. And they haven't won the division since God knows when. And then you even have Baltimore having a 7th seed coming into the playoffs. And then you probably have like 3 teams in the division going to the playoffs. But for me, I think it's just the lack of capability with Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree. With no run game, it's pretty hard to, win games without a decent run game and a decent pass game, which they do have the passing game. Like Xavier said, they got the O-line, Ben throwing it quickly. But if you don't have a run game, then, yeah, defense going to get pretty comfortable in what your scheme is. And for the defensive end, especially without Bud Dupree and Devin Bush, they really haven't been doing great on pass rushes. TJ Watt, arguably the defensive player of the year, but with him only like rushing and Cameron Hayward, that's like hard. And it's hard to defense will win games, but if you're not stopping the offense, then yeah, you're gonna lose.
I think me personally, it's the run game, but I think part of the problem is Big Ben Roethlisberger. He's 38 years old. Father time is kicking in like how everybody else is father time's getting kicked in with Tom Brady, Drew Brees, and Phillip Rivers. Okay, we understand that. But for you to not be able to play as well as you've been playing for the past 11 games, I don't know what to say. I just don't know what to say. First, you don't have a run game. Second, people are reading reading the offense way more efficiently now. And it's crunch time trying to get into the playoffs. But you got to be able to throw the ball down the field because you have lightning quick receivers that can go down the field. And for you not to be able to throw the ball down the field, I don't know what to say. But the running game problem needs to be fixed like immediately because if you don't have a running game in the playoffs, you're not going to win. You're just not going to win. And that's my take on that.
Picking off of what you said about the defense, I agree with both you and Joe was saying, because on the goal line with the Steelers, they either going to go up the middle with Benny Snell or they're going to try to go to jet sweep to Chase Claypool and try to get him outside. And then you're going to try to and then you either going to try to go deep with Claypool when you're on midfield or even back some, or you even going to try to go an underneath route, or you might go to like a little separation route with Juju, or go to a whole underneath route with Deontay Johnson.
Right.
So it's just so like, and then defense are starting to pick it up, and then they're gonna start reading it more because they know they're not gonna trust that run. They know their run game is not solid. They know their run game is not like Baltimore's or Cleveland's.
I mean, just to keep it simple, the offense is very predictable. We know what's gonna happen. You gotta switch it up. That's why we keep saying they need to up the run game so that they can switch it up for the defenses to not, read the offense very easily. But Chaz, go ahead.
Yeah, I think obviously the run game is a problem. They can't run the ball, and you can't win games in the playoffs unless you can run the ball. But to me, the biggest problem is Big Ben. At the beginning of the season, 11 games in, he was playing great. Can't complain. Like 30 touchdowns, 6 picks. But it's fallen apart. He can't push the ball down the field. And when you have 3 or 4 great receivers, that can't happen. You have to be able to push the ball down the field. And with all these short passing plays, you can't pass the ball down the field. The defense knows what they're doing. That's why that's a big thing with the drop passes, Juju's fumble. They sit and they watch. They just watch, wait till he throws, and they hit him because they know it's not going down the field. And so for me, I mean, he's getting older, He had 19 yards passing in the first half. It was horrible. And I think he can get it back together, There were some sparks, like the touchdown pass he had, it was a good ball. He still has it in him. He's not going to forget how to throw a ball, but right now I think that's the biggest thing because he's getting older and he was known for being able to sit in the pocket and take hits. And you can't take hits anymore when you've had career-threatening injuries. Exactly. And it's risky. It's risky for him to sit in the pocket. That's why he's got to get rid of the ball. But it doesn't matter how fast you get rid of the ball when they know where the ball's going. So yeah, the run game is an issue, but you can't score points with those receivers. I mean, it's a problem. But I think Big Ben's the biggest problem right now.
I think.
And another thing about the run game, my fault, Jalen.
Go ahead.
But I just had to say this. Like another thing about the run game, they do not have James Conner. That's the number one back. If they had James Conner, the run game would have been different.
Yep.
Agree.
Injuries, man. Injuries.
My thing is you're playing the Colts at home, and then you're playing, I believe, at Cleveland. They could lose those games because, one, you have Darius Leonard, and you have DeForest Buckner. 2, you have Myles Garrett, who is in the Pro Bowl with Darius Leonard. So it's like, that's tough. That's very tough. It's a tough gauntlet for the Steelers to lose like this, potentially losing the next 2 games, and we've never seen a team go 11-0 and then drop the last 5 games of the season. That has never happened. So we will see. We will see. But moving on. So just a little quick pitch. Just 2 questions. Which NBA player is under the most pressure in the Eastern Conference right now? I mean, I'll go first.
Yeah.
Me personally, it's Kevin Durant. No, I'll take it back. It's Giannis. I say Giannis because, one, you signed a $228 million deal. You get Drew Holiday. We gonna see what the money talk. We gonna see if the money gonna talk. When you get the money, we gonna see what you gonna do. What are you gonna do? Costas has won a championship before you. That's terrible. I just don't understand how that happens. How Costas Antetokounmpo sitting on the bench of the Los Angeles Lakers wins a ring before you, before the best player in the NBA. I just don't understand. My thing is this. When you're that dominant in the post, you're a two-way scorer, right? You thought Eric Bledsoe was going to be an answer for you in the playoffs. Didn't happen. So you add a prolific score, a dominant scorer, point guard in Drew Holiday. Mm-hmm. I mean, I personally think that doesn't help them. I think they need a guard instead of a point guard to help them. They need somebody alongside with Chris Middleton to get them that can score to the rim and can shoot the ball. I mean, if Drew Holiday can show up, he'll show up. But more pressure is on Giannis. If Giannis doesn't win a championship within the 2 years that he signed, he needs to go. He needs to go. Go ahead.
I'm gonna, even though I agree with Giannis, but I'm gonna go with your first answer, Kevin Durant, because you're coming off an injury. You didn't play last year. People saying linking up with Kyrie, oh, that's not going to work. So it's pressure because, I mean, like I said, he didn't play last season. He coming off an injury. People still saying and talking, even though they beat the Warriors, they're all injured. It's not going to work with you and Kyrie. I mean, look, KD is one of the best players the NBA has ever seen. He's going to come back in form. So I'm going to say Kevin Durant.
Okay.
Even though my pick might sound a little weird, but I thought about it. I'm gonna say LeBron.
In the East? In the East?
Oh, you talking about the East? Oh, you said the East. Oh, you said.
We're gonna go to the West, but we're talking about the East right now. We're gonna
go the East. Okay, my fault. Oh, Lord have mercy.
It's okay. Go ahead.
I gotta go with Joe with this one. I gotta go with KD. Mm-hmm. I mean, you coming up, you bouncing off of an injury. You know good and well you're not 100%. Possibly like 80, 85. Yeah, around that ballpark. Mm-hmm. Like, and then you playing with Kyrie. I mean, you still good. I mean, you still the old Kevin Durant. You're just not healthy enough. You're not fully healthy, if that. Right. And you playing with Steve Nash. You playing with in the East now. You won 2 championships with Golden State, and you've been in OKC. And now you're in the East. That's a little bit easier, in my opinion. And like you said, like you linking up with Kyrie. You're with Kyrie, who's a great ball handler. Then you got probably the best scorer in the league right now. And like people are gonna, and like the East, every team in the East has like a huge target on KD, Kyrie, and the Brooklyn Nets. It's just like everybody's just like we coming for them. We are not gonna let them go too far in the playoffs.
Right. Chaz, who you got?
I've got Giannis, and for the biggest reason is when you sign a contract like that, and you put that much trust in a player who hasn't delivered in the postseason yet. You know, you can average 30 and 13 as much as you want, but when it gets to the playoffs and you can't get out the second round, you get bounced out of the playoffs. That's not getting the job done. You pay him to win a ring. In a small market city like that, he's your best chance to ever win a ring in the window that he has right now. And the more I thought about KD, the biggest thing as why I didn't pick KD is the injury. I think you give him a year before the pressure completely sets in. Because if he plays good this year and he gets back to full health, full speed, and they make a run to the Eastern Conference finals or make it to the finals, which I think they will, and he loses in either of those series, pressure's on at that point. But you give him a year to get back to speed, full health. I just think Giannis has more pressure because when you get paid like that and you haven't delivered yet, they're telling you the clock's ticking. You know, you don't get it done, you're out. You know, eventually. Yeah.
I mean, that's how I felt. That's how I felt when the bubble ended. He did that. This is the second year in a row that he has not delivered on his promise to bring a championship to Milwaukee. So when the trade rumors started going around with him going to Miami, him going to other teams and stuff like that, I was like, this man's really about to leave. Like, I really thought he's about to leave. So then when he re-signed for the 228, I was like, this is a big mistake. I don't know why would you stay? You could have potentially joined one of the most underrated underground teams in the Eastern Conference, which is Miami Heat with Jimmy Butler. That would have been an automatic ticket to the finals right there. To the finals. But,
and it's crazy though. Like, the NBA has, I think I said this in one of the last few episodes, like, the NBA has a lot of say, more than the NFL and the MLB and the sports within. Mm-hmm. Because you have all these players wanting to opt out of these teams. James Harden want to get out of Houston. KD got out of OKC. Russ got out of OKC. Then he got out of Houston. Then LeBron got out of Cleveland. Went to Miami. Went back to Cleveland. Now in LA. This, that, the third, and the fourth. And it's just like they can say what they want, and it's just like a little bit more freedom, if I want to say, per se.
Yeah, player-driven league.
Yeah.
All right, so now to the West. Who is under the most pressure in the West? Joe, I mean Xavier, you can go first because you already said your answer for the West.
Okay, I did say LeBron, but I gotta reconsider. I'm gonna say Paul George.
That's a good one.
Reason being because vintage. Okay, Paul George can come through in the regular season, all he want, but when it comes to playoff time, he sails so bad. Last year or 2 years ago, he kept talking reckless to Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard put him out.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think it was last year that I think he spoke too early about going to the finals. Then he got put out again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just crazy. Like, you putting up all these numbers. You even had an MVP season with OKC when you was with OKC. And now you just like, it's like you having a split personality, if that makes sense.
Right.
Like
right.
you in the regular season, you doing a lot of damage, but then when you in the postseason, you kind of just like this, that, and the third. I mean, even against the Lakers, you threw the ball to who you thought was an open man, but then it was just nobody there, and he was just coming to the ref. Like, you just like Paul George can never like come through, and then just more pressure added to him, especially coming from from a possible Western Conference Finals Clippers team.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like it can go in like a lot of ways, but I just think PG has a lot of pressure due to like the lack of years due to the recent years, that he has been in the playoffs and in the playoffs basically. So he has like a track record of like not coming through.
Right. Anybody
That's
else?
a good one.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I'm gonna say Steph Curry, and because he also coming off an injury. He only played 5 games last year, and this year he gotta do this without Klay Thompson. He gotta do this the first couple of games without Draymond because of his ankle injury, and you still have you basically just got this new team. And last night we didn't see any chemistry with them. Steph Curry didn't really have a good game. I think he only had like 27 of 21 from the field. Steph Curry has the most pressure, and Steve Kerr had to make like some adjustment to get Steph going, to get that offense going, and stop turning the ball over, and see if they can make the playoffs, because we know they're not going to make it to the finals anytime soon right now.
Right.
So
I mean,
Steph
hold on, wait. They can, with Klay Thompson comes back, with Kelly Oubre, that's a possibility now. But that could be another thing. They can.
That's a toss up.
That's take a while because Klay Thompson's out again.
I don't know. I'm not counting them out of making it to the finals. It's gonna be harder because the way the teams are built for right now. You got Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic. You got Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. You got Luka Doncic and you got Chris Sappers. It's like it's duos now in the West. It's harder in the West. But I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just wanted to.
No, you good. You good. That was good.
But me personally, I was gonna say Luka Doncic, but I'm not gonna say Luka Doncic. I'm gonna say Kawhi Leonard. You wanted out in San Antonio to want to come to LA, but San Antonio sends you to this another country, this Narnia land of Toronto, to where you with the Raptors for 1 year. You win a championship there. Then they send you to LA, where King James throne, he's just sitting on his throne. You arrive to LA and you go to the opposite team of the same arena that you're playing in. This sends a message like, okay, I want to take your throne. I want to be the top dog of LA. Didn't happen. Did not happen. It was a lack of leadership. It felt like you putting a pin needle in a beach ball and the beach ball just goes flat. That's what that felt like. So I believe Kawhi, with being a leader on the team, you got to step up. And what he did last night against the Lakers, I'll give it to him. And the way Paul George is playing right now, that's how he should have been playing.
That's only regular season Paul George.
Right. And that's
he's gonna do that regular season.
And time will tell whether Paul George will show up in the playoffs. Because I want to see the Indiana Pacers or Paul George. Right?
That kind of the question. That's the question that sits in everybody in like a lot of people's heads. Like, if you can put up 33 points against King James and the Lakers, can you ride that all season and not be pandemic P in the playoffs?
I mean, but that's hard though, because you're going up against one of the top 5 players in the world right now with Anthony Davis. That's hard. And then you go on top of that, you got the 6th man of the year in Montrezl Harrell, and you got Dennis Schroeder, who is averaging 14 and 12 a night. That's hard. Chaz, what you got?
For me, it came down to 2 players. Really depends on why they're under pressure. And from the standpoint of who needs to really turn it around, it's Paul George. He's been a meme all summer, man. Pandemic P, playoff P. And that's not going to cut it when, like you said, it's a league full of duos. And for the most part, Kawhi stepped up to what he said he would. And in a league where you need someone else to play with you, Paul George has to step it up. He can't be shooting balls at the backboard. He can't be basically, he's blowing everything that he's promised for that team. And it's crunch time. They signed him big, so they trust him, obviously, but he's got to come through, because in a league full of teams with 2 good players, 2 superstar players, one of them can't struggle. Same thing with LA. I don't think LeBron would make it to the finals right now if it was just him or if it was just AD. It's got to be both of them playing. It's got to be both of them playing to the level that they're supposed to, because the West is tough, man. It's tough, and it's a battle out there. And so that's why, if you look at who needs to keep it going from what they're doing, then LeBron has the most pressure, because he's chasing Jordan.
No, and I disagree. He already has 4 championships.
I know, but the pressure to keep it going, that it's a different kind of pressure, Right. Like, you can't say Michael Jordan didn't have pressure when they were three-peating, because when the expectations are that high, they're a heavy, heavy favorite. They got it. If they don't win because of if it's not because of injuries, if they lose the finals just because they lost to the better team, that's not gonna sit well. It's like LeBron losing to the Mavs. It didn't sit well, because that's a lot of pressure to pull through to win when you're supposed to win. And
I think what it is that the pressure. I think it's more pressure on Kawhi versus the reason why I say LeBron doesn't have more pressure. He's already been there 4 times. Yes, I get what you're saying with the Michael Jordan point. Michael Jordan pressure is like, you got to go through all of these teams. It was like every team that he went against had a squad. They had 3 good players or more on their team that he went up against. LeBron, it was like some of the past finals was his toughest finals, because you're playing in a bubble, you're playing with no fans, and you're playing in one gym. At that time, Portland was hot, the Mavs was hot, Utah was hot, everybody in the West was hot. I mean, and LeBron only had 1 player, and that was Anthony Davis. He didn't have an AD, a Kyrie.
Playoff Rondo, man, was legit. Rondo was legit,
tough.
Man.
That's tough to argue. It's very tough to argue, but I get where you're coming from with it, Chaz. I really understand where you're coming from.
Chaz, I have a question though.
Go ahead.
So you were saying like LeBron, like try not to do it he couldn't really do it by himself. You just talking about the West, or you just talking about like in general?
No, I'm talking about like this season. If LeBron, say AD got hurt and it was just LeBron, I'm just saying I don't like the Lakers' chances of getting past every team in the West if it's just one of them.
That's basically like when LeBron first came to LA and he got hurt. People were saying can the Lakers make it to the playoffs without LeBron?
No, I think they could. No, they should make it to the playoffs. I'm saying like as
But
far
they
as winning the
didn't.
finals.
But they didn't. That's the thing.
No.
They didn't.
Yeah, because he got hurt.
Right.
Yeah, so if he's out,
I mean,
then they don't really have a chance at the playoffs if he's
Right.
I mean, but he pulled it. But he pulled it.
That's like
He
if
pulled it off
Steph
single-handedly,
gets hurt-
though.
That's like if Steph gets hurt right now.
out. We seen that. We seen that last.
My point. That's my point. That's what I'm saying.
I thought when he was saying like when he couldn't really do it single-handedly, I was just looking like he did it single-handedly with a
I mean,
fourth
yeah, he
with a
has.
fourth seed Cleveland team, and then he beat the first round and second. He swept the first round and second round without Kevin Love, George Hill, Jr. He like you did it.
No, but I'm
By
saying,
yourself.
without AD, say AD gets hurt midseason, are they still your favorite to win the whole thing?
No.
Without AD?
No.
That's what I'm saying. That's all.
Me
That's
per-
all I was saying.
So in that situation, my favorite to win is coming out is off of 3 teams: Denver,
Okay.
the Clippers, and Dallas.
No.
That's
in
me.
the West. In the West.
I can't say Portland because
No.
Portland doesn't have. They don't have. Yes, you have a prolific scorer in Damian Lillard, and you have CJ McCollum, but that's not enough. It's not enough.
But
They
let
should
me,
have gave up Hassan Whiteside if anything.
And,
Let me
and people could argue Phoenix. People could argue Phoenix.
in the finals.
No.
No, we're talking about in the playoffs general. And we're talking
Oh,
about,
okay.
we're talking
I
about
thought
the
you
playoffs.
said finals. Okay.
No.
Okay, never mind. Okay, yeah. Playoffs, yes. Okay, you're right.
But like I said before, that 6, 7, and 8 seed is going to be up for grabs for anybody.
Right.
It's like a sweepstakes. Anybody can get it.
But right now, who you see as the 6, 7, and 8 in the West?
I want to hear what Chaz got to say with this.
In the West?
Yeah, in the
Yeah,
West.
because the 6, 7, and 8 seed is going to be up for grabs. With those 3 seeds, who you think will make those 3 seeds? Which team in the West?
Man, the West is deep. It really, I'm real interested to see how things in Phoenix work. I want to see if they're legit, or
Right.
if they're a little closer to the bottom.
Right.
I think last year too, like you look at the Mavs, I think they would have been a higher seed if they would have been healthy. So I don't think they'll be a low seed. Portland, I think they'll be higher seeded this year. So I mean, it's tough. I think the Rockets are gonna drop a little bit. I don't think it works out as well.
Wait. But you still have them making the playoffs?
Oh, of course. I'm saying like lower seeding.
No.
I don't know about that.
No.
Why? I don't think it works. I don't even know if Harden stays. I don't know if Harden stays.
With what's going on right now with James Harden, clearly this man wants out. I don't mean to go here, but clearly this man wants out.
Of course.
You get fined $50,000 for
You don't want to be
going
in
to an. You said what? Somebody lagged, but it's okay. But clearly you get fined $50,000 for posting a video at an event, right? And then it's like, man, he really don't want to be here. He gives these one-worded response or whatnot, and it's like, wow. And then you have John Wall and Boogie Cousins. I don't mind seeing that, but I don't think it's gonna be enough.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I don't think it's enough.
Yeah, I don't think it's enough either.
I think they'll be in a position like how New Orleans was battling against Memphis, trying to get into the playoffs. I see that.
Another team to look at is Pelicans too.
Yeah.
There it is.
For those bottom 3 seeds.
Yeah.
They're exciting. They're exciting. They're young.
I agree. The way Lonzo is playing right now, the way Brandon Ingram is playing right now, and Zion coming back healthy, yes, I see it.
Mm-hmm.
I see it.
Yeah, definitely.
So we're gonna do a segment called Who You Got. So we're gonna do the Christmas Day game. So the first game, Pelicans at the Heat. Who you got?
I got
that's gonna be a good one.
Okay.
I got the Heat. I think it's gonna be a real good game, but yeah, no, I like what they're doing in Miami. You know, that culture's something. And like I said, Pelicans are young.
Right.
I think they'll show out, but I don't think it's enough
I
for
got
now against the
I got
Heat.
Miami. Only reason because it's going to be close, and it's going to be a battle between Bam Adebayo and Steven Adams. But Miami's bench is deeper than New Orleans.
I am Miami. The way we all know this. We all know Jimmy Butler, but I think Tyler Hero is going to be that golden piece for them because the way that he performed in the playoffs last year, going into this season, I expect him to be a superstar in the making for Miami. The Warriors at the Bucks. I got the Bucks.
I do too.
Okay.
I was saying Warriors, but now I gotta go with the Bucks.
I can't say the Warriors because, I mean, you can. I mean, you can. Because James Wiseman, he's coming into his own. It's gonna take a little minute, but I don't think it's gonna be enough. Me again.
Yeah, too many injuries and young players, and it's not the same Warriors squad from 2-3 years ago. It's not the same right now.
Right.
A Warriors team at full strength are dangerous, but can't look at them for what they've done. It's got to be what they can do right now, and it's not the same.
The Nets at the Celtics.
Ooh.
I think Kyrie's gonna have a big night back in TD. I got the Nets.
I think I gotta say Brooklyn too, because I feel like you said you think Kyrie's gonna have a good night in TD Garden, and I feel like it's gonna be more personal.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's gonna have that chip on his shoulder, and it's gonna start cooking.
Yeah, no, I like the Nets. I like the Nets going into that. Kyrie's got a lot to prove. KD's got a lot to prove, but I think the Celtics, in the long term for the season, are probably if not the biggest threat to the Nets in come postseason, but it'll be interesting to see how they match up this year or in this game.
That's it. The Celtics are like third or fourth. They're like second or third to me in the East.
I mean, they're top three, but I don't want to say they're the biggest threat to me personally.
Who would you have in Milwaukee?
I will have Milwaukee, Boston, and Toronto.
Yeah, not Miami.
Toronto is the question mark because I want to see how they can play without Serge Ibaka. That's my only concern. How they will play without Serge Ibaka, and will Pascal Siakam live up to his expectation as that star big man for Toronto with Kyle Lowry? That's my only concern.
My three are Milwaukee, Miami, then Boston.
Okay.
Because I mean Milwaukee, we know about Milwaukee. No further explanation. Miami, they're deep. I mean Jimmy Butler, Bam, Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero, Goran Dragic.
Right.
Yeah.
They're deep. That's a deep team, man.
Who else did I mention?
I think that's it. I mean,
I said Boston.
Yeah.
Boston.
Jason Tatum. Jaylen
Exactly.
Brown,
Kemba
Walker, Marcus Smart, Tice. They're deep too. But the only concern I have with Boston, they don't have a two-way big man. That's the league has evolved now to where you have to shoot the ball. You got to be able to make shots from the perimeter. If you can't make shots from the perimeter, you're not going to win. You're not going to win a championship. You know, that's why Giannis has practiced and improved his three-point shooting to be very deadly. It's hard to guard him now because now he's dangerous from the perimeter and he's dangerous inside and in transition. It's hard. But moving on, so we got the Mavericks at the Lakers.
LA.
I got the you know, with the Lakers coming in and opening night, I was like, okay, look, they're gonna win this game, so that they're the chance. And then the Clippers just come out and do what they do. I think this is gonna be a big game for Luka.
Yeah.
Me personally, Luka's gonna show out in LA. I got the Mavericks for this one.
I don't think the Lakers lose again. I think that Clippers loss leaves a bad taste.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that motivates LeBron. And he's a player when he's been down, like can't count him out. You know, that's when he shines. And so I like LA winning this. I like the Lakers winning it. But it's a close one.
I mean, that loss to, especially when you got your ring against the Clippers and then you lose against the Clippers, that was outright embarrassing. That was just the great among the human life. But LeBron doesn't play. LeBron is like a different person when it comes to Christmas Day games. And like LeBron, you don't mess around with him. Late in the season, Christmas Day, playoffs. That's like the three elements of LeBron you can't mess around with.
Right.
In the season, in the NBA, in a typical NBA season.
Okay. So the last game, we got the Clippers at the Nuggets. That's hard too. That's a hard one.
Part of me wants to say that the Nuggets are in the Clippers' head and that they win just like they did when the Clippers blew a 3-1 lead. But part of me wants to think that Paul George and Kawhi turn it around. So it's really tough to see like how much that playoff series impacts this.
Okay.
Or if it impacts it at all. But I don't know. Depends on Jamal Murray. If he steps up like he did in the playoffs, then it's Denver. But it's tough.
That's a tough one. I'm on the ropes with this one, but I got it's come down to one thing. Who can show up in the clutch? I know that Kawhi did not show up in the clutch against Denver in the playoffs, but I believe that he will redeem himself and show up in the clutch against Denver. So I gotta pick the Clippers. I'll pick the Clippers.
For me,
there you go.
I got it's all gonna go down between the Nuggets offense versus the Clippers defense. I would not be surprised if this game goes to overtime, but there's a slight chance that's going to happen. If I want to pick, I think the Clippers are going to win this one just by barely, at most a 10-point margin. I mean, I think me personally, defense wins games, and then they're going to come through.
Joe, you can hear us, right? You good? Joe's having a little bit of technical difficulties, but yeah. So we're gonna end it right here.
Yeah, I'm good now.
Are you good?
Right.
Okay.
I'm just in my room.
We were just going through the games real quick. So just real quick, just give us your picks. Pelicans at the Heat. Who you got?
I got Heat.
Okay. Warriors at Bucks.
Bucks.
Okay. Nets at Celtics.
Nets.
Mavericks at the Lakers.
I got Lakers.
Clippers at the Nuggets.
Nuggets.
Okay. That's pretty accurate. That's pretty accurate, you know. But yeah, so this is gonna be the last episode of season 3. But I just want to thank everybody that took the time out and checked out the show this year. Chaz, thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, man, thanks for having me.
And that will do it until the season 4. Hope everyone has a blessed day, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Peace.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, everybody. Happy holidays.